Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be teaching you a very basic beginner voice lesson. So if you want to follow along with this video and follow along with the exercises and everything like that, feel free. So the first thing I like to do when I am starting a lesson is I usually ask my students how much singing experience they've had, maybe different accomplishments they've had in their singing or songwriting. I also teach songwriting lessons. I usually ask what your style is, what do you like to sing, maybe who are some of your favorite singers or some influential singers or songwriters. So think about that as we're going through this lesson, and think about maybe a song that you would want to work on as a little ongoing project for yourself, maybe a song that is challenging for you but that you enjoy, to kind of further your experience with singing. So we're gonna start with some kind of very basic stuff. When you start singing, you want to have your body be in its proper state of being before you sing. So some of the first things that we do is we check our posture, and if you're sitting, it's fine. You can also stand. Sometimes when I practice at the piano, I sit and sing, but I try to maintain this kind of upward posture. So you want to sit up straight and kind of roll your shoulders back, and I like to kind of roll my neck from side to side. It just kind of loosens up your body a little bit and helps your alignment, which will help you with your breathing, which will help you with your singing. So then we're going to talk about head placement. So you want your head to not be down like this and not up like this so that it's strained, but kind of just resting and looking straight ahead. So and you just want to stretch out your whole body, because singing really is kind of a whole body experience. So you want your whole body to be warmed up before you sing. So now we're going to talk about breathing. So when we breathe, breathing is very essential to producing the best kind of sound that you can. And what you want to do is you want to focus your breathing in the lower part of your body, in what we call the diaphragm. So your diaphragm is located kind of right above where your stomach is. So you want to kind of breathe in that lower part of your body. So when you're breathing, you want to focus on expanding out that part of your body and not so much breathing like this. When you breathe, you don't want to breathe by lifting your chest and lifting your shoulders, because this is not a productive breath for producing good singing. So you want to breathe starting from your diaphragm, and then when you breathe out, you should feel it collapse back in. So that is the kind of breath you should take right before you sing. It's the kind of breath you should take in between singing phrases. Anytime you're breathing when you sing, you want to be breathing from that spot. And I also just want to mention that if you think about your rib cage, which is right above your diaphragm, when you're expanding your diaphragm, you should also kind of feel your rib cage expanding too. Everything is an expansion because you're kind of opening up. Instead of sucking in, you want to think of opening up the diaphragm to produce a good sound. So when I warm up, I like to start with just very simple warm-ups, like lip trills. I always find those helpful. So sometimes I use the piano and sometimes I don't. I would say that if you're a less experienced singer, using the piano might be helpful because you can just pinpoint the exact notes. And I like to start on just some very simple lip trills. So lip trills are easy. They're just, and you want to really get them warmed up. This is actually a good warm-up because it really starts to let your mouth be flexible and, be able to produce whatever it needs to produce when you're singing. So I like to kind of go up. So let's start like here. focus on that sliding going up. You know? And depending on what you're going to be singing, you can go as high or as low as you want. I like to start pretty low and go up to, you know, kind of the higher part of my range, because it warms up every part of your voice, which is good to do no matter what you're singing. But if you're going to be singing pieces that are particularly higher and more in a soprano range, you really want to get up to these notes as well when you're warming up. So now we're gonna actually start vocalizing. So vocalizing means doing more like working with vowels when we sing. So we're gonna do oohs. And I like to go up when I do oohs as well. So we wanna start at the kind of the lowest point in your range and work your way up. It's the best way to warm up your whole voice. So I like to do ooh. Again, really focusing on that slide from up to down, down to up. You just want to slide right in between all those notes. As you get to these higher notes, you want to kind of open your ooh a little more, so it's like a ooh, which sounds funny, but it actually helps, because if you keep this really tight ooh to your lips, as you're getting to these higher notes, you're not allowing yourself to sing them as fully as you can. So you have to adjust the shape of your mouth depending on where in your range you're singing. Okay, cool. So, the next exercise I like to do that is a little more vocalizing is what we call ya-yas. And these also I like to go up chromatically because I think it's most beneficial. So, and they're in thirds. So it's like ya, 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 and then you go up. So let's start there actually, because F is pretty much in the bottom of my range. So ya, 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 ya. You can go as high as you think that your voice needs in order to sing whatever it is you're going to sing. That's the most important part when warming up, is to warm up your voice for kind of whatever you're going to be doing. So if you're going to be singing a really kind of low belty song, you don't necessarily have to go all the way up to these notes, but if you're going to be singing a more kind of operatic soprano type thing, you really want to hit these notes so that your voice is ready to sing them when it needs to. Okay, cool. So the other thing I want to talk about is the difference between head and chest voice, and what we call the mix, which is kind of the in-between point between your head and your chest voice. So your chest voice is kind of that belty, like, voice. And your head voice is kind of up here, and it's like the more soprano-y part. And your mix is a little bit more of a complex concept that you don't really need to know right away, but it's kind of finding that blend between this very like deep chest voice and your really airy head voice. So I would say if you want to learn more about mix, you should just listen to different artists that maybe like country artists, they do a lot of what we call twang, and that's a different vocal concept, but you should listen to country artists to really kind of hear what they do. So, but yeah, I just wanted to touch on the difference between your head voice and your chest voice, because I think it's important to talk about. And so the only other thing that I like to do to warm up is do sirens. So it's like, woo! And you can go as high or as low as you want with those. Again, it depends on kind of what you're going to be singing, but I like to warm up the whole range starting kind of low, so woo, 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 and then going really high and then coming all the way back down. So the last part of the lesson that I like to do with students is I have the student pick a song that they find challenging. And this is kind of hard for students to do sometimes because they tend to gear towards songs that they like to sing, and these aren't always challenging songs because they've sung them a lot before. But what I like to do is I like to have them come in with a song that they think is challenging, or a song that they're like, oh, I really want to work on this part because I think I could do it better, but I need your help in, whatever it is. And so that's something I'd like to do, because then it forces them to make the initiation of, I realize where my weak spot is, and I want to work on it using the techniques that you can teach me. So what I usually like to do is have the student come in, bring the song in, and we warm up, and then we just kind of start right off. I just say, okay, let me hear you do the song, and then we'll talk about it, and then we'll maybe try to find whatever, we'll try to pinpoint the spots that could be worked on. So I did this with a student during my lesson demonstration in class, and she went through the whole song, and she did a really great job, and it was really beautiful. And what we talked about after was her using her chest voice and not being so airy in those kind of mid to lower notes, because she can sing them and they sounded beautiful, but in certain styles like pop, rock, country, you really want to be able to produce a full sound when you're singing in your chest voice. Now, me personally, I definitely am more of an alto. I speak much in my lower. This is kind of my normal speaking voice, and it is lower. And this is also kind of where I tend to sing. So for me, singing those belty alto songs it comes pretty easily. So what I usually have to work on is singing these higher notes and making them sound as rich and full as these notes do. So what she and I worked on was, kind of in more like this range, and getting her to produce a full, rich sound and not be afraid to sing loud. Because a lot of the times I think singers hold back, and often it's just volume. You just have to produce more volume when you sing. So if you are one of those people that tends to be a soprano and sings really beautiful operatic things, and you use your falsetto a lot and your vibrato, I would recommend picking a song that is more challenging for you and may fall in a more alto range. Some examples could be like maybe some Whitney Houston or Carrie Underwood, or artists like that who tend to really get into that twang belt, especially country artists. I myself am not the biggest country fan, however I do think that there are some country songs that are beneficial to singers who want to incorporate their chest voice a little bit more into how they sing. So thank you for watching this video, and I hope it was helpful for you, and I'm always free to help people out with their singing, and you can always feel free to email me, or we can web chat, do a lesson online. My email is nterrell@berkeley.edu, and my name is Nora Terrell, and thanks so much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed.